Hello, everyone. Welcome to Snap Take. This is Glazer of Snap Judgments, the official podcast of Marvel Snap Zone. We've got two fantastic decks for you on this gloomy Saturday. Sunday, while you're watching this, I'm recording the night before to get this up bright and early for you Sunday morning so you can start your day with two decks. I figure right now everyone's either trying to beat Loki or play Loki. So I've got two amazing decks for you. One great Loki deck, Quinn Theft, from our friend Devilish Snap, and W is back. The originator of Doomwave is back with his newest version of Doomwave since the buff. And let me just tell you, it's got like a 75% win rate in W's hands. And I've been straight up, like I practiced this deck a little bit just to make sure that it was doing well, and it straight crushes the Loki match, at least in my experience. Obviously, Loki can high roll, and there's a lot of flavors of Loki, so there's no guarantee. But I've had really good luck against Loki with this deck. You should hit that sub button. We'd really appreciate it every single weekday, and very often on Sundays. We bring you two brand new decks that will keep you ahead of the Marvel Snap meta, help you get infinite, help you get your infinity borders, and reach all your goals in Snap. In addition, we are still giving away Loki season passes. We're giving away 10 freaking more season passes. So if you haven't got that Loki season pass and you want it, please make sure to sub and comment this video. As long as you're subbed, every comment from like the middle of last week until next Friday enters you to win a Loki season pass. Each day I'm pulling winners from the comment section. So all you have to do is sub and comment. Please make sure you do. Also, totally free and really helps us out. Helping people out at no cost to yourself is a pretty nice thing to do. So hopefully you agree and give that a try. All right. We've got two winners of this season pass who I haven't heard from. They're Mimichu and TechCur7. If either of you see this, please comment your email address below, and the way to do that is on screen. Pause it, figure this out. I'd like to give your season passes. You have until Friday. If you don't, I'm throwing those two bet more into the pool, and we're giving away 12 season passes. All right. I believe in deck credits. I believe that simultaneous creation often happens in Marvel Snap, like it does in every game. However, this is who I know made these decks to the best of my knowledge, and I believe in honoring their hard work and creativity by giving them credit. If you saw this deck elsewhere, sorry about that, but as far as I know, these are original creations. W created the W Doomwave deck. He created the original Doomwave. He created the Thanos control deck that was all over the meta with Spider-Man and Professor X like a season ago. He's one of the best players in all of the game. Make sure you check him out at W_Marvel Snap or twitch.com/W streaming. He's also got a YouTube as well at W Marvel Snap on YouTube. So make sure you check him out on everything. W's an amazing person. I'm a really big fan. And, we chat all the time. Always willing to help people out. We've also got Devilish. Got to support my fellow 40 something Snap players. Hey, fam. All right. Devilish is twitter.com/devilish_plays and twitch.com/devilish_play. Singular on Twitch, plural on Twitter. Awesome person, extremely kind. Dying to get him on the podcast, but he's over in the UK and it's really hard to manage time zones because like we're not full time. We have jobs. So just know that Devilish is a phenomenal person worth listening to and would be a guest on the Snapchat podcast if we could make the times work. Damn you, time zones. This is W's Doomwave. Uh I made up the title in the first. I just thought Do the Wave and then Doom the Wave was cute. Sorry. I didn't I purposely didn't put any variants in this because this deck is really cool, but it's also marvelously vanilla. So the idea here is that Sunspot, Nebula, and Misty grow. If you need to, you can protect them with armor. Armor is also really good against Destroy, which is still a presence in the meta. Storm closes off a lane. That lane can be won by a growing Nebula, Sunspot, Misty putting power over there, Jeff, Cyclops, or Doom. It's a lot of ways to win a Storm lane. Um, so the ideal play would be, well, we'll get to the ideal plays later. Turn 4, you want a Cyclops. Turn 5, you want a Wave, and then you decide whether to Doom or Hulk. America Chavez is not a card you really almost ever play here. I guess you can play it like if you didn't see Hulk and you know that like 9 is going to be enough for one lane, and you've already stormed in one another. But like, I don't think I've ever really done that. Full disclosure. You want to choose between Doom and Hulk 99% of the time. America is here for consistency. You want to see Storm on 3. You can actually deal with Storm on 4 sometimes, but you really want to see Storm on 3, and you also really want to see Cyclops on 4, and you desperately want to see Wave on 5. This deck does not have another great play on turn 5 that is not Wave, so you're really, really going all in on that Wave on 5 strategy. Replacement cards. Nebula and Jeff can be Shocker or Nightcrawler. You figure out how that works, right? Like, it's not complicated. If you don't have Jeff, you want Nightcrawler. If you don't have Nebula, you can choose Shocker or Nightcrawler. Nightcrawler is like a backup Jeff, and Shocker as just a nice way to, like, luckily get one of your powerful cards cheap. You could also, theoretically, I don't suggest you do it, because I think, like, the deck is so built around Wave that it doesn't really want to add another 5. But if you're missing one, particularly Jeff, you could also try Claw. Claw would give you an extra thing to do on turn 5, and, like, Claw and Doom is an awful lot of power. Please don't play this without High Evolutionary. It's a High Evolutionary deck and only works with High Evolutionary. I feel like that should be self-explanatory, but before anyone asks, let's be clear. Turn by turn and snapping. Your job is to win a lane with your growing cards and limit their plays with Wave, then Hulk or Doom. Turn 1, you really want a Nebula. You will play Sunspot or Misty as well, but you really, really want a Nebula if possible. Nebula growing as soon as possible is very important. Turn 2, you would like to Sunspot, Misty, Armor, and then Jeff in that general order, depending on matchups. Armor goes up in value if you know they're running Killmonger or their Destroy deck. Sunspot and Misty are fairly interchangeable here. Jeff is if you know that if you don't have Cyclops but do have Storm, sometimes I'll, like, bump Jeff up the priority order because I know I can move it to that lane later. If I'm gonna Storm and I have Cyclops and I have all this other stuff set up, I'm snapping before I even drop Storm. So I'd like to Storm on Nebula if humanly possible because my opponent's incentivized to play there, and it makes my Cyclops automatically really freaking strong. Cyclops is going to be a 3/8 fundamentally, right? It's going to hit twice, 3 times, so it's going to be a 3/10. So it's going to hit on turn 4, turn 5, and turn 6, assuming you go Cyclops, Wave, and Hulk or Doom. So that's a 3/10 in a lane with Nebula, who's at least a 1/3, 1/5, and Storm, who's a 3/2. So you usually win that lane just on that, which means you're aiming to hold. It's a snap before you play that Storm, or it's a snap right after you play that Storm if you draw into Cyclops. Turn 5, you want to play Wave. If you're going to Hulk, you're going to play one of your 1-drops, your Misty or Sunspot with that Wave, because that extra power is an extra power. Why chuck it? And if not, you're going to, and if you're planning to play Doom, like, you know that you're trying to get into, like, I don't know, a Death's Domain type location that your opponent can't really get enough power into, you can play easily a card like Jeff or Armor on that turn with your Wave, and you don't have to worry about the Hulk. Although it does give away a little bit of what you're doing to your opponent, who knows what they're doing. Wave is the other big snap condition. I should have wrote snap here, but whatever. You're capable of listening and you're a smart person. You can handle this. If you didn't snap over the Storm, you're snapping before you Wave, assuming that Wave is going to ruin their lives. Wave is really, really, really strong against Loki on ladder. It's nowhere near as good in Conquest, where they can choose to Loki at a different time and sort of play around it. But on ladder, they have to do the does he have it game, and they have to try and go off early, and they have to have drawn Loki early. And if they don't, well, if they didn't Loki on 3, right? If they didn't go off on turn 5 and you get that Wave off, you've won, they run. Which means that this is like, although it's got a 63% win rate, it's got a 0.75 cube rate, whereas Loki has like a stupid high, like 0.9 something cube rate. The logic here is that once you Wave, like, you're often getting 2 cubes, but you're very rarely getting more, right? In that sort of situation, unless your opponent's bad and doesn't do basic. Your last turn, you're deciding, do I need Doom to win a lane? Spoiler, if your Storm lane is 1, don't bother dooming. Count on them having Doom and then do the math, right? But very often, like, if they Doom, even so, like, you're still going to win that lane because Cyclops is making that Doom bot a 3. And then you've still got Nebula picking up 2 extra power, right? That's 4 power. That's already more than that Doombot is adding to that lane. So you're usually fairly okay there. At which point you're dropping a Hulk. And your Hulk is usually pretty big if you drew it with any kind of time. And it's also going to get bigger on the last turn at the end of the turn. Be wary of Shang-Chi, obviously, as always. If you could happen to do that in an armor lane, that's usually pretty nice. But Hulk is big enough to usually, if only one card is being played, be the king one card. All right, that's how you play this list. Let's take one last look at it. It's really strong. I was gonna hit infinite with it, and then I got to like I've been floating in 93 for a couple days. I haven't actually got a lot of time to play. As longtime viewers know, literally anyone who's been watching for more than just this video knows, I'm a teacher. School started for me last Thursday, and I've been like exhausted. So I've been like mindlessly playing while I watch things and sort of veg out for a couple days. I got to 93 in the first like day and a half, and since then, since actual students have been there and but the weather's been insanely hot. I haven't really played seriously. I played this deck immediately, hopped to 98 from 93, and then I was like, I don't think I want to do this right now. I like to try and bluntly hit infinite with something like sort of different and interesting as a general rule. I think it's I don't know, it makes for better content and it's more interesting for you guys and it's more fun for me. So I then just played a bunch of jank and now I'm I think at 96 or so with whatever nonsense I'm playing. I'll hit infinite the next day or two and expect a video going over that deck. I do. And I'll make sure that like I'm not hitting infinite with some bullshit. It'll be good, but it'll be good and good in a way that like the meta isn't ready for it. That's my goal for the deck I hit infinite with. Last season I hit infinite with a Thanos 2099, Spider-Man 2099 move list. Um a few seasons back I hit infinite with like a nice Sarah Surfer when everyone thought Surfer was bad. Stuff like that. That's what I like to try and hit infinite with. So we'll get something soon. Don't worry about it. I'm close enough. Ready for deck 2? Devilish has our Loki deck for the day. This has a very similar win rate, but slightly higher Q rate as our previous deck. There's also an absolute ton of um, games with this deck. I'm going to go over this deck momentarily. I would like to note that these are the variants I use for these cards, with one exception. I don't have this Loki yet, but since I have the Season Pass, I will, sooner or later, have this Loki, and it's going to be the one I use. I have a variant for everything in this deck but Mirage and Leader. Um, I don't know. At some point, I'll buy a leader and Mirage will show up. But since they haven't, I just don't have it. I've never seen a Mirage variant in my shop. I don't like the Valkyrie one. A, it's not my favorite era of the character, and it just doesn't feel Mirage enough. I want one of the other ones. And the base art in a New Mutants uniform is actually pretty good for this one. So I don't hate it. It's fairly dynamic. Leader, I think, is terrible. I think base leader is an ugly card, but what are you going to do? Here we have our standard cards, right? Every Loki deck, more or less, runs Quinjet, Collector, and Coulson and Loki. There's no point in going over them in any great detail. At this point, you know what they do. Quinjet's -2 to Loki cards, and -1 to your Sentinel, Coulson, Fury cards, Mirage card, Cable card, Agent 13 card. You get the idea. Um, while Collector gets big for all the same things I just listed. Nice and simple, right? That those go in every deck. Coulson is great because having a 4 and a 5 really helps your curve out. Like sometimes Coulson just gives you the perfect card to win a game. I got an 8 cuber the other day, screwing around because I didn't see Loki, my opponent did, and Coulson gave me a Valkyrie. They had like a 50 power Collector, except then they didn't. Seemed pretty good, right? Like sometimes Coulson just wins you. Snap. Everything should be fairly self-explanatory here. Besides that, Agent 13, Cable, Sentinel, and Mirage are so you always have something to do, even if you don't see Loki. Devil Dino is big because you're drawing all these cards. Nick Fury is here because, well, a 5-drop 6 cost card for 5 is often game winning. My favorite piece of spice here, I've done it in a couple of my own Loki builds, is Nakia. Nakia is not incredible if you're not seeing Loki, but if you are seeing Loki and then you can wait a turn, they're not going to wave you, and you can afford to play Nakia, giving all those -1 costing cards or -2 costing cards +1 power is very, very, very often backbreaking and wins games. Leader is a nice last turn play, right? Let's say they do wave you and they snap and they're all confident and cocky, but you're ahead because you've got Loki and Devil Dino and such nonsense, right? You just drop your leader and GG's, right? Like you're just going to steal that game out from under them. I think leader is a really cool piece of tech here too. Mirage is the only non-Series 3 card, which is so cool, and this is probably the best Series 3 only Loki deck I've seen, because you can just make Mirage Maria Hill, and the deck gets a little worse, but like not significantly. Um, you almost never play the Mirage card, I found. So like the +2 is great, but it's not like super relevant. It's there mostly because it pumps collector, and it's cheaper with Quinjet if you really need it. And it's an extra card for Loki to discard to get you something else that's even cheaper because you have Quinjet also, right? So like I don't super care about Mirage. Murray Hill should be totally fine as a replacement here. Okay. Your goal, huge collector, huge dino, and then copy their best play. So Quinjet collector, and then turn 3, you're drawing cards. You're playing either Coulson or Agent 13 and one of the other 2 drops. If you played Agent 13 1 and now you have Quinjet and one of the 2 drops, that's fine too. Turn 4, you're Lokiing, and if you have one of the ones, again, play it. Also nice if you had Quinjet out earlier and you now have a cheap card from one of your other cards, right? The easiest example is Sentinel, because Sentinel's guaranteed to be a 1/3 if you had Quinjet. You can play a Sentinel first and then drop a Loki, and that's an extra card to discard. Turn 5, ideally you're playing, turn 4, you're probably playing Loki with that 1 drop, and if not, you're playing Nick Fury if you have Quinjet out. If not, you're just trying to draw more cards and find more powerful combos. Turn 5 is probably Dino, or the Quinjet and Fury 6 that now costs 5, or you're just playing a bunch of their stuff. Same thing for turn 6, Dino or the Fury 6, or now you can play Leader or just a bunch of their stuff. You're going to have to read the board to decide. Sometimes you only have one option, but very often you've got a lot of options and you're now reading the board to decide. When are you snapping with this deck? As soon as you can figure out what they're playing, or if you have Collector and Loki. Quinjet and Loki or Collector and Loki, I'm usually snapping, or as soon as I know what they're playing and know I'm favored. Any of those cases are a snap for me. I'm usually not waiting till late game. I really, really like with this deck. I haven't played this one a lot. I haven't played this one as much as many of the others, but I have had people wave me because, hey, that W deck beats the shit out of regular Loki, right? So what I've been doing when they wave me is if I have Leader, I just go cool, and I play Leader, and then I win. Been nice. I'm a big fan of that play. Okay. This is last time. It is very cool. Let's talk variants now that we're at the end. This is my favorite Agent 13 variant in the game. I wanted it from when I first started playing. I actually want the Captain America Agent Coulson thing to go with it, but I don't have it. This is the only Quinjet I have, which is nice because it's my favorite Quinjet. The new Quinjet they just released is cool. I like old Cable much more than young Cable, but I like the art on this young Cable a lot. It feels very Cable. Talked about Mirage. This is a collector bundle. I have 2 different collectors that I believe both came from bundles. I think this one is cooler. This one feels more like collector. He feels more arrogant. He's got all the little screens of things he's collected. This is a Sentinel from a season pass. I like it a lot. 10 hips are the best variants. Don't at me. So I use this Nakia all the freaking time. I bought this Coulson last week. I also have Pixel, and I have like a Chibi Coulson. I honestly don't like any of the 3 Coulsons I have, but this one is at least funny. I've never gotten the feeling that Coulson is super ripped, so this one's a little weird, but like, hey, what's wrong with a little eye candy? I'll have this Loki down the line. I have the basketball playing Nick Fury, which I don't know. I feel like he probably isn't very good at basketball because like he doesn't have any depth perception. So I'm just using the Sam Jackson signed one. Why not? We've got the Devil Dino, the Robo one that we got as a Twitch drop last week. Let's get some Twitch drops again soon, second dinner. And I've also got the Winter one. I actually use the Winter one more often, but I've been showing it in a lot of videos, so I decided to go Robo here. And finally, we talked about Leader's lack of variant. That's this deck and its variants. Hopefully you found that interesting. Let me know which Devil Dino you think is best. Because like there's the one where he sort of looks flat that I see a lot of people use and I really don't like it. The best is probably just the hip, because again, hip is the best variants. All right. Hopefully you found that interesting. Hopefully you've tried these decks out and they bring you success. They are successful decks. Hopefully they are kind to you. Remember, not every deck is for everybody. Don't assume that every deck that some people have success with, you will find success with. Figure out your gameplay style. Play games of Snap. Have fun. Hit that sub button. Leave a comment. Enter a giveaway. I'll see you tomorrow morning for another Snap Take. Peace.